It seems a lot of Michiganders love marijuana no matter which part of the state they call home.
Rich people, poor people, white people, black people, inner city, country boys. Everybody likes it.
And Steve Ezell says he knows one thing's for sure, it's here to stay. His marijuana store in Interlochen is one of close to 800 retailers currently operating in Michigan, collectively bringing in $269 million in excise tax revenue last year. The state Treasury Department says by comparison, $186 million was collected in 2022, a 44% growth in 1 year. An analysis by LendingTree released this month ranks Michigan fourth nationally out of states where cannabis is legal for having the biggest change in tax revenue, with Missouri, New York, and Louisiana rounding out the top three.
Just the amount of money that is pouring into state governments as a result of that is pretty eye-opening.
Michigan's marijuana tax revenue is split into thirds between K through 12 education, transportation, and the rest being paid out to cities and towns, a flat fee for every licensed retail store or microbusiness in their jurisdiction. More than $87 million was paid out this year to 269 municipalities from the state's Marijuana Regulation Fund for fiscal year 2023.
Right now, it's close to $59,000 a year you receive per dispensary, and it's not dependent on sales, it's just if they're open or not.
New Buffalo Township hasn't received its payout per dispensary from the state yet, since its handful of cannabis businesses only recently opened. Township Supervisor Michelle Height says the township eventually plans to use that money for roads and to help pay for code enforcement. They've been inundated with special land use permit applications from new dispensaries wanting to open up. So much so, the township issued in March a one-year moratorium and stopped accepting new applications. Height says about 50 applications are currently in for review.
Whether those will all come to the Planning Commission, I don't know. They have until June 3rd to have a complete application in.
She says it could take an overwhelmed Planning Commission months to catch up on those, possibly followed up by a discussion on changing the township's marijuana ordinance. A few miles down the road, New Buffalo City Mayor John Humphrey is skeptical that the township, a community according to the U.S. Census with a population of about 2,500 people, could support potentially dozens more dispensaries.
This isn't going to last forever because you can't have that many of anything in one place. The dollars won't support it.
Humphrey says the influx of customers to the already open dispensaries, a fair share traveling from out of state, has led to more marijuana use on the city's public beach and already prompting a change in policy to start locking the beach's gates at night.
We've already had mass complaints about open marijuana use at our beach, more so than ever. I mean, you can say it's an anomaly, but I'm a pragmatic guy. There's no coincidence where there's smoke, there's fire.
He's also worried about what potentially dozens of new dispensaries in the township can mean for the city's tourism-related jobs.
And then you start to talk about the employment ramifications of all these places opening, offering higher wages. That's completely taking the problems we already have with getting employees for the service industry.
Increased traffic near the dispensaries has also been a concern for township residents. Thomas Levine is with the Cannabis Counsel law firm in Detroit, handling only cannabis-related cases like business and real estate disputes for growers and dispensaries, among several other issues. He thinks more dispensaries will continue to open up across the state.
There are still areas where there's, you got to go 100 miles to get to a dispensary. The free market is the way our economy works, and I think, to a certain extent, we should allow that to happen.
Dispensaries in New Buffalo Township, for example, can only be located within one of 3 designated marijuana overlay districts. Areas Height says were chosen to drive development. But as more want to open across Michigan, some have closed. MLive.com reported last December that close to 14% of Michigan's marijuana retailers, about 125 of them, have closed or not renewed licenses since December of 2019, with many leaving behind unpaid debts. Levine says the taxes on cannabis products in Michigan are lower by design, meant to drive out the illegal market. And as long as neighboring states have varying tax rates on cannabis products, the battle for business, especially near state lines, will rage on.
It sort of becomes a matter of economics. Of course, those existing businesses are going to want to limit the number so to increase their own revenue.
Thanks for watching. Here's another story you may like, and subscribe to the WSBT 22 YouTube channel.